My name is Doug Edgton. I'm the President and CEO of the North Carolina Biotechnology Center, and we are so pleased to see you all here this morning. We have many of our partners that made this possible here with us today, and I think you're going to be pleased with what we're going to unveil. Partnership has been a key part of this process because what we're coming at this from many angles, and so what we're trying to do is make sure everybody's on the same page. And we think that you're going to hear from some of our partners. The Commissioner of Agriculture, Mr. Troxler, is going to be here. We have Sharon Decker, Secretary of Commerce, is going to speak to us. We have Dean Linton from the School of Agriculture and Life Sciences at North Carolina State. And we'll hear from Joy Pardrock. She is one of our small companies that does advanced animal diagnostics. And you'll hear from Syngenta. We have Michiel van Luceren Campagne here, and he's the president of Syngenta Biotechnology. So why are all these people here? It has something to do with agriculture, obviously. It has something to do with biotechnology. And with the state's top job recruiter here, it must have something to do with jobs. So today brings all these things together: agriculture, biotechnology, company growth, and jobs. We all know that North Carolina is the leader in this sector. We have the companies, we have the research, we have the workforce. What we've lacked is something to call it. So with that, without further ado, I'd like to officially unveil Ag Biosphere. This is the name that we want to use moving forward to advance this sector of the agriculture, biotechnology, life sciences together. So Ag Biosphere will be one of the trademarks and names we will use going forward. The name starts with biosphere, which is the sum of global ecosystems. By adding ag at the front, we are designating North Carolina as the complete ecosystem for anything in the ag biosphere biotechnology endeavor. So the Ag Biosphere will be a platform that our economic developers, our universities, and our companies can use to educate the world about what we do in North Carolina. Ag Biosphere gives a name to our strengths and to our history. And Ag Biosphere stakes North Carolina's claim as the global leader in ag biotechnology. Research, development, and manufacturing, all components. Our Ag Biosphere platform has three sections: roots, assets, and ability. The roots of Ag Biosphere are in North Carolina's agriculture, and Commissioner Troxler can tell you about the diversity of our soils and crops, the impact they have on our state at $77 billion a year. We have similar strengths in biotechnology. There are 650 companies in our state that are in the biotechnology space, and they do anything from research, development, and produce products, and that's another $59 billion a year industry. So Ag Biosphere has strong and productive roots in the sector. The Ag Biosphere also has strong assets. Dean Linton will share the strengths of our research from the land-grant universities. We're blessed to have two land-grant universities, NC State and NC-A&T State University. The state is home to 5 of the 6 leading ag biotech companies, with 3 of them having their world headquarters here in our state. And our entrepreneurial companies are second to none. So Ag Biosphere has a strong set of assets. Our third Ag Biosphere strength is ability. That is talent. Secretary Decker will tell you any global company's first need when choosing a site is ensuring that the workforce is readily available to do the work. North Carolina has proven that it can deliver the right team to do these jobs, and we have done that consistently. So we have a strong ability in our Ag Biosphere. These 3 pieces of the Ag Biosphere combine to accelerate company and growth and development. As our 2 companies will tell you, that anything that we're doing in this space will help them move their products to market faster. So we'll hear from them shortly. These challenges include feeding a rapidly expanding world population, meeting increased demand for environmentally sustainable fuels, and stopping the spread of viruses and diseases. And that can be through tests that we develop, that can be through medications that are developed or vaccines that are put together to stop the spread of disease. Ag Biotech promises to meet these global needs affordably and quickly. North Carolina's ag biotech companies have been on the forefront of addressing these challenges, but that doesn't mean we don't have competition. The Midwest is not called the breadbasket of America for just any old reason. and California's cows have their own marketing campaign. So that's a real challenge for us to overcome those cows. We believe that North Carolina, more so than any other geographic region or locale, is uniquely qualified as the research, development, and manufacture of agricultural biotechnology solutions. We have a complete ag biosphere, if you will, the place where science, agriculture meet the challenges, and we don't just meet those challenges, we solve them. So with that, we have Ag Biosphere. Okay. Next, I'd like to ask Secretary Troxler to come up. And he's one of our partners, and he's also on our board. But one of the things you need to know about him is he's from Brown Summit. His roots come in ag biotechnology, actually. He spent his entire career in agriculture, including starting his own family farm called Troxler Farms. He was elected to Commissioner of Agriculture for the first time in 2006, re-elected in 2008 and 2012. In his tenure as Commissioner, Troxler has focused on developing new markets for North Carolina farm products, preserving farms, and protecting the state's food supply. As a member of our board, he knows biotechnology is a big part. So with that, I welcome Commissioner Troxler to the podium. Thank you.
I thank all of you for being here today. There's never a better day than when we're gathered together to talk about the future of agriculture and agribusiness in North Carolina and the exciting things that we can do. I can't thank the Biotechnology Center enough for all that they've done to bring biotech industry to North Carolina. I know there are over 600 ag life science companies in North Carolina that have come here, and over 80 of those are actually biotech companies involved in agribusiness. So we are really proud of that. It was mentioned about how big this industry is in North Carolina. You start talking about $78 billion. It's almost unimaginable until you have the opportunity to experience and see what it's about. How did we get to a $78 billion industry? And I think it's fairly easy to explain it. If you go back 100 years, the North Carolina Agricultural Extension Service is celebrating their 100th year anniversary, and you look back to the year 1914. Where were we in agriculture? I look at the machines that we had back then. We were just really getting into gasoline, diesel-powered tractors and equipment in agriculture, but for the most part, in North Carolina particularly, the farms were subsistence farms. They basically raised their family on the farm, and luckily we had some tobacco that gave us a little extra income, so we began to educate our children, and a lot of them came back to the farm. So technology began to drive agriculture. So we've gone from subsistence farming to feeding over 150 people per farmer. The weather did not change during this period of time. I mean, there's ups and downs in the weather, but the weather is a constant that farmers deal with. It's always too wet, and it's too dry, and it's too cold, and it's too hot. That's every year, that's every day, so that's a constant. We've had government policy that has influenced the things that we've done in agriculture, and it does take good government policy and business climates to be able to thrive. But the way we got here was agricultural research and technology development. I mean, that's what's driven it, and I think it was really driven home to me in the year 2012 when we had the massive drought in the Midwest, and it just so happened that the National Association of State Departments of Agriculture had their meeting in Iowa. And we had all seen on the television the massive drought that we had in the Midwest that year and how dire it was out there. And when I went out there, I was expecting to see corn yields in the 10, 15 bushel yield range. I mean, that's what you think of. But the truth of the matter was the corn yields were in the 80 to 100 bushel range. Now, to farmers, this was just as much a financial disaster as that 10 to 15 bushel corn would have been maybe 10 years previous. But it showed just how far technology had moved agriculture during the period of time that we were developing biotechnology. So, yes, it was a disaster, but it was a different type of disaster than what we would experience before, especially with the supplies that would be out there. So now I look at what we've got to do in agriculture and agribusiness for the future, and when I see that we got to produce 50 100% more food by the year 2050. How are we going to get there? The weather's going to stay the same. I mean, you can talk about global warming, and it's going to be a change, certainly in climate as time goes on. It always has been. But the technology and the education is going to drive us once again. We in North Carolina are very unique in our ability to be able to do this. We have the Biotechnology Center. We have partnerships that exist nowhere else in the country. As national president, I was able to see how departments of agriculture and the private sector and the university system interact all across the country. There's nothing like this anywhere else. We are so lucky. And then you throw in the partnerships that we have with Secretary Decker and Commerce and the legislature. We've got a real opportunity here to be the global leader as we've always been in the things that are going to drive agriculture and agribusiness. So I'm proud to be here today to take part in this celebration of Ag Biosphere and be able to brand what we do. Branding is a big part of any thing that you set out to do. I mean, got to be NC Agriculture, that we have spread this marketing campaign all over the world. So this is a great thing to do, and I thank all of you for your participation, and look forward to developing even more partnerships that will drive this industry toward $100 billion, which I think is very, very easy to do in the near future. With the commitment of government resources, with the commitment of the private sector, with the partnerships that we have, $100 billion is not far away. And when I think about the things that we can do in agriculture and agribusiness in the state, it is so exciting to be a part of it and to be in the leadership role that I'm in for a state like North Carolina. So once again, thank all of you for being here. Thank all of you for the partnerships. And I really thank our ag biotech companies that have made North Carolina home and made it a world leader in biotechnology. We're so fortunate to have them here, and even more fortunate for the expansions that they've done over the past couple years to make sure that the future of this state is going to be what it needs to be, and that's the agricultural state in the nation. Thank you.
Thank you. And notice the brand, how you can interchange words in here. So roots is one of our themes in this. And so we have good roots from everything from blueberries, sweet potatoes, Christmas trees across the state. Next, we're going to hear from Dean Linton from the School of Agriculture and Life Sciences at NC State. And he travels the state looking at all the assets that we have. So you have AgBio assets. And I believe he will give you a full rundown on what we're doing. Thank you, sir.
Well, good morning, everybody. I hope that my message finds you well this morning. I'm certainly glad to be here and glad to be a partner when it comes to agriculture and life sciences in the state of North Carolina. And I hope that you all agree with me that every presentation I give, my first slide talks about now is our opportunity in agriculture and life sciences. I think no other state in the nation has the capacity to grow due to the tremendous assets that we have in the state. We represent the #1 economic sector in the state, and we plan to grow it to $100 billion as well, with over 800,000 jobs by the year 2020. And we're growing between 30,000 and 40,000 new jobs each and every year in the state of North Carolina. We also have great diversity in our state, which the Commissioner just mentioned, relative to the production of agricultural products, with over 90 different commodity groups and producing different agriculture-related products. No one else has the excitement of RTP right at their doorstep. I think all of you would agree this is a tremendous opportunity. We've got a great foundation. We've just got to find a way in which we can grow. Diversity in our life sciences community, after decades long of investment, now includes over 600+ companies who are leading in the drug research, development and manufacturing, medical devices, and diagnostics, contract research, and most notably, agriculture biotechnology. In fact, North Carolina is home to more than 80 ag biotech companies working in crop science, crop protection, animal health, and biofuels, just to name a few. Our state is arguably the largest global center for agricultural biotechnology in the country, and I think we're just getting started. As many of you know, I'm a big believer in partnerships, and I think that's why I was brought to the state of North Carolina. Our role at North Carolina State as a partner is to be able to foster research, teaching, and engagement. We partner to help deliver technology for tomorrow, create a pipeline of students to fill these employment needs in our state, and help translate pertinent data to our over 270 different groups of stakeholders in the state of North Carolina. And our cooperative extension network, which is in all 100 counties, helps the ag industry grow. And with our partnership with the North Carolina Department of Agriculture, we perform research on over 18 different state-supported research stations throughout the state of North Carolina. These research stations allow us to work on solutions and opportunities for our state. And as mentioned before, we have a tremendous and unique position in which we can study many different soil types and many different animal and plant products in order to not only be able to help North Carolina grow, but our nation and our world. We also progress 600 to 700 undergraduate students and about 250 graduate students a year, producing the needed workforce to be able to help us grow. Nowhere else in the world can you find such diversity and commitment to agriculture and ag biotechnology. North Carolina's assets set us apart and provide ag biotechnology organizations everything they need to thrive. Thanks for the invitation to be able to be here today. I'm glad to be a partner with you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Dean Linton. So I would say with bioassets, we've definitely got ag biotech down to a science in the state of North Carolina. So next we have Secretary Sharon Decker, and she's a good friend of the center. She's on our board as well. She is the leading job recruiter for the state of North Carolina, and I think that she will talk for us a little bit about the ability of North Carolina to solve these problems in ag biotech. Thank you.
Thanks for the opportunity to be a part of this very special day. I'm delighted that today Pat Mitchell, if you'll stand, who is Assistant Secretary for the Rural Division and Commerce, and Dick Lindemuth with the Economic Development Partnership of North Carolina are both with me, who joined me in job recruiting for North Carolina. I have had such a great experience in these first 2 years as Secretary of Commerce, but I want to tell you about 2 days that were highlights for me. One was on a recent trip to Japan, where we were focused on agriculture, automotive, and aviation as our 3 areas of focus in job recruitment and relationship building. The first time that I know of, Commissioner, that the Department of Agriculture and the Department of Commerce had a joint trade mission, but we did to Japan. And the day that I saw North Carolina pork being sampled in a Japanese grocery store was one of the highlights of this experience. And as my colleagues with me, Peter said, Sharon, I've never seen anybody get so excited about cooking pork. And I said, just think about this. Just think about this. Think about the farmers who raised that pig. Think about the history and heritage of agriculture in North Carolina. Think about what it took to process that and to get it from North Carolina to Japan. Think about the excitement of this young home demonstration agent, which actually was what it was, demonstrating and cooking this smelling pork in the grocery store in a busy place in the center of Tokyo. Just think about the role of North Carolina in getting that pork here. Makes me tear up just thinking about it right now, but just think about that. And the importance of North Carolina in feeding the world. And then the other day I just told the commissioner about that really is a highlight for me. Happened about 3 weeks ago when David Burns, a fine man, longtime farmer and agriculturalist in this state, invited me to come to Laurel Hill. And he had heard me speak about the importance of getting young people in North Carolina excited again about AgBio, about agriculture in our state. And I said, you know, I'm thinking that maybe rather than driving up in my 4-door car, I need to start driving around in an air-conditioned combine with surround sound, computer-operated, and maybe demonstrate more fully the combination of technology and agriculture that is transforming this industry in our state. So he called me up and said, Sharon, I want you to come ride in one of those air-conditioned vehicles. And so I did, with a young 27-year-old man who's very excited about his career in agriculture, as he demonstrated a cotton picker for me and talked about his ability to pick an acre in a matter of minutes. And he could describe to me on the computer how he was gauging the effectiveness of his movement of this vehicle through that field and how he could tell me how many acres he was getting in a bale, and then we watched that machine wrap that bale in the rear view window that we were looking through and watched the whole process. And I got to tell you, that was a highlight. I asked the young driver, I said, what's the toughest part about your job? And he said, the last 4 hours of cotton picking in a 13-hour day. And I said, that's true in commerce, too. I describe it almost the same way. But agriculture is such an important part of North Carolina's economy. And as we come out of a very deep and dark recession, agriculture and bioag specifically is going to be a big part of our recovery. And we've got a challenge, and my challenge to you is to help us to begin to talk about this industry for what it is. I remember my first trip to Syngenta, which I had with you very shortly after taking this job. And I don't know if you remember much about that conversation, but it was defining for me in this role. Because sitting around that table, and we had been into the greenhouse and kind of began to understand a bit more about what you were doing. And the challenge you gave me was, you said, Sharon, we are sitting at the epicenter of the agricultural revolution. That's what you said to me that day. We are sitting at the epicenter of the agricultural revolution because of North Carolina's rich agricultural heritage, because of our place in research and development in the AgBio world, because of the world's need for food, the world's need for energy. North Carolina is uniquely sitting at a place of critical importance in the agricultural revolution. And in this time, as I've learned more about it, I believe that. And I think it presents a tremendous challenge to us, what the Biotech Center has done to place us in a position of leadership, what our rich agricultural history has done to place us in a critical position of leadership, our fine educational institutions led by North Carolina State, A&T State University, others in our university system that are focused on developing the talent and the resources. And let's not forget about our community college system and the important role that they increasingly play in training young workers to help us in the field of agriculture. But the challenge I place on you, those of you who care passionately about this industry, is we've got a cultural shift we have to make. Because for 2 generations, we've said to many of our young children, particularly those we were raising in our agricultural communities in North Carolina, you can grow up and be and do everything you want to grow up and be and do, but for goodness sake, don't come back and work on the... Have you said that to any of your children? Some of you have. Many others have. Hope our media partners will help us tell the story. There's a great future in agriculture in North Carolina. And at the center of that is that place where technology and life sciences combine with plant and animal development to feed the world. And so we're excited about it in commerce. We're excited about it in the Economic Development Partnership of North Carolina because we think this particular focus is incredibly important for North Carolina's short-term and long-term economic health. We are grateful for the partnership that we have with agriculture, for the partnership we have with our educational institutions, and helping to really understand this particular focus of all of our marketing efforts. We look forward in joining with you in promoting even more effectively the Ag Biosphere. What a great way to put our focus on it so that folks can better understand it, so that we can communicate it more effectively together. Congratulations on this branding launch. We look forward to being partners with you as we move forward.
Thank you for those comments. I couldn't have said it better. I couldn't even if I tried. But your comment about the pork being cooked in the store reminds me that we are committed to this like the pig at the barbecue. So this is one of our great opportunities to put everybody on the same page. So the part about this, all 3 components, that we've just talked about really lead to acceleration. And some of our one of our smaller companies is here to talk about how this helps them move their product to market faster. So Joy, would you please come up and tell us a little bit about that?
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's okay. You don't have to if you don't want to. So we've heard about roots and assets and ability, but what does this Ag Biosphere concept mean for the companies and the communities across North Carolina? I'm going to share with you an entrepreneurial perspective on that, and in just a moment, you'll hear a large company perspective as well. So my role is as president and CEO of a little company just down the road in Durham. And our mission is to enhance the profitability of livestock production and help ensure that we all have a safe, abundant supply of animal protein. Now, we do that through on-farm diagnostics. So instead of sending samples out to a central lab and waiting for results, our twist to point of care is point of cow. So we get results cow side nearly immediately. Now, about a year ago, after years of hard work, we finally launched our first test. Our whole focus is on giving the producers information they can use to better manage and be more profitable. And this first test helps address a disease for dairy cows that costs about $2 billion annually in lost production in the U.S. Globally, that number is about $10 billion. And to kind of show you what happens, basically a dairy cow is capable of producing so much milk. And when she gets mastitis, even if it's subclinical before we can even see it, a lot of that milk production is gone because of gland damage. But we develop a technology that helps them identify it early so they don't have to forego that lost production. Now, that's not only important for producers, that's important for us, because the U.S. recommended daily intake of calcium is 2 glasses a day. Globally, we only produce enough to get 1 glass a day. So our technology in helping stop that lost production that most cows go through because of subclinical mastitis is really important here in North Carolina and around the world. So how many of you eat cheese, yogurt, drink milk? Right, good, do more of that. We like that. So we're affecting you not only by making more product available, but by making it a healthier, higher quality product by ensuring that those animals are healthy and detecting it when we're not. My weekend job is a family farm and a bunch of cows, and I treat my cows the same way I treat my kids. If I know they're sick and an antibiotic will help their immune system battle that infection, I want to know as soon as possible, and I want to help them battle that infection. Essentially, that's what our technology does. So we've been able to thrive in this community because of the Ag Biosphere. So for us, the Ag Biosphere has made some important contributions that have gotten us from concept to a commercial reality. The first important contribution of this area has been employees. When we started, actually 3 years ago, the company received our first venture funding. And at that time, we were 3 people and a great idea. Today, we're 35 people and 35 full-time equivalents we employ. We've got about 10 part-timers. We were able to hire those people all locally, and it's a really diverse skill set we needed. We have scientists with different areas of expertise. We have mechanical engineers, electrical engineers, software engineers, customer service reps, trial assistants that go out and manage the data and the animals on farm. So that all of that diverse array of skill set we found right here. Those 35 people that we employ helped us not only create jobs, but create high-paying jobs. We're paying those people more than 2 times the average salary of North Carolina. So we were able to find the resources we needed in terms of people. We were also able to find here the collaborations we needed. One of the great kept secrets is the fact that we have one of the top 3 vet schools in the nation right here in our backyard. And it was collaboration with NC State's College of Vet Medicine that allowed us to demonstrate the promise of this technology and attract our first funding. So collaboration is something that this area provides that has been important to our success. The area also has provided funding that's been critical to our success. There's a venture capital community here, and I can't say enough good things about InterSouth Partners and the support that we've gotten from a local funder. But even before that was possible, we were able to get some funding from the Biotech Center. And we never would have been able to attract the support of a venture capital firm like InterSouth without the funding we got from the Biotech Center. I think we got about a $100,000 collaborative funding grant that started some of that work at NC State University, and we got a $24,000 loan. Now, $24,000 might not sound like much of you business people in the audience today, but that $24,000 loan predated me. That $24,000 loan was really important to a fledgling little company with one entrepreneur trying to start something and create something that nobody had ever created before. So I think in addition to the employees and the collaboration and the funding, we have a support community here that's largely made possible because of the work that the Biotech Center has done. So I'm very appreciative of that, and I hope that our story has helped you understand that because of this Ag Biosphere community, we can create value in young companies that's never been created before, and that gives back to all of you, both as consumers and as residents of the state that need more jobs and a thriving economy. So we're appreciative of what the Ag Biosphere has provided us and look forward to attracting more companies to the space.
So next we have with us from Syngenta, Michiel van Luceren-Campagne, and he's going to speak to us about some of the advances that Syngenta is doing to grow in this space. So we have a small company perspective, a loan portfolio company, and now a very large company perspective. So come on up, Michiel. Thank you.
Thank you, Doug, and I'm very excited to be here. I want to thank the Commissioner Troxler for his and Secretary Decker for their unwavering support of ag industry and us in our investments that we made over the past couple of years here in North Carolina. I'm particularly proud here because, you know, I feel like a sort of more like a convert, and converts are always more passionate than because I'm a fugitive from Europe, where there was not a lot of interest in innovation agriculture. So I had to escape to North Carolina to greener pastures and join this location here, which is absolutely fantastic. And the location here in North Carolina is so fantastic because it is really the place to be in agriculture. It is an exciting industry. If you look at biotech seeds, for example, we've been growing at a 17.5% a compound annual growth rate over the last 10 years versus a sort of a 4 to 6% of the industry at large. So that's a huge growth that we've been going. That, of course, and we have, you know, future growth is just there. You can see that 9 billion people. We have to feed 9 billion people with less resources. We have to really throw all the technology, all the innovation we can have and we can get into feeding a larger population with less input. And so being here, where we have for the large multinational companies, Bayer, BASF, and Syngenta here having their North American headquarters here in North Carolina, and we have amongst ourselves invested in the last couple of years over $300 million in infrastructure, and we have grown by over 1,000 jobs recently and in the future. So that growth here locally is not for nothing. We do that because this is the place to be. Our employees want to be here. The quality of living is great. The schools are great. The culture is great. The diversity is great. So it is really the place to attract your employees in the best possible way. The business investment climate is great. There's a huge support. I like the Ag Biosphere powered by the North Carolina Biotech Center. And that is really, and that is true. I mean, the support we've had from the Chamber of Commerce, from the NC Biotech Center, from the Secretary and the Commissioner here. So it's all been tremendous here and made it easy for us here to make the decision to come to North Carolina and place our investments here. So that is really, for the whole industry here, is very, very important. Because we should think of it, often we think about it, you know, our competition is the cows in California, we heard, or the Midwest in Iowa. But really, our competition is global. You know, so Syngenta is a global company headquartered in Basel, making its investments in North Carolina. We could have done that in Beijing. We could have done that in Singapore, but we chose North Carolina because the environment is here to attract people, to be close to our markets, or to be in an environment where politics and where the population supports innovation in agriculture. That is so hugely important, and we need to keep that. So the Ag Biosphere initiative, to have the brand for that, to have created excitement, is hugely important, because we can think, okay, we've made it. You know, we are the global center for ag biotech R&D in the universe. And we are. Yes, we are that. But it is so easy to go and rest on our laurels and become complacent. We need initiatives like the Linz initiative, who comes in here also from the outside with a lot of energy and passion to start a plant science initiative. We need Joy Parr here to come here and set up her small company. We need venture capitalists come in and catalyze a whole new environment of startup companies, and we need to keep that flywheel going. So I'm very proud standing to you as a sort of convert and import, but now a true believer in the North Carolina brand, and how the Ag Biosphere brand will help us stay here and remain here and grow here. So thank you all for that, and I'm looking forward to working together with all of you for that. Thank you.
Thank you, McKeel. What he said, times two. That's great, because that really sums up a lot of what we're here about today. And I think that what we really hope that you walk away from this with the knowledge that North Carolina does have the assets, the roots, and the ability to accelerate the ag, biotech, and life sciences in our state and in our country and for our world. So with that, we hope you all go out and use those words and use the Ag Biosphere name as you refer to this sector of our employment base, this sector of our scientific base, and what we're doing for the world. So if you need a handy reference for this, you can see agbiosphere.com at the bottom, and you can look up on the website and get all the information you need. And with that, I think there's nothing else to say but welcome to the Ag Biosphere. Thank you. Thank you all for coming out. Thanks to all our speakers. We appreciate your help so much.